Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to discuss Karuku by Bama, one of the most significant works in Dalit literature and also in Indian English Literature Studies. If you are an MA English Literature student or preparing for NET, SET or other competitive exams, this video will help you understand the text in a simple and engaging way. Before starting the video or going in the deep discussion of the text, I will quickly let you know what are the topics which I will discuss in the video. So first I will introduce the writer because it's very important to know about the writer who has wrote the text. Then also I will introduce the text to you, and then the title significance, summary, what is the story, main story of the book, and then major themes, literary features and significance of the text. So this will be the major area which will be discussed in this video. So let's start the video. Before we understand the book, it's always a good idea to know a little about the person who wrote it. After all, many times an author's life help us understand why they wrote a particular work. So the question is, who is Bama? Bama, whose full name is Bama Faustina Sosairaj, was born in 1958 in Tamil Nadu. She belongs to a Dalit Christian community, and this identity is central to both her life and her writing. Now, here's something interesting. Bama didn't initially dream of becoming a writer. She begins her career as a teacher. Later, inspired by her faith, she joined a convent and became a nun. She genuinely believed that a religious life would allow her to serve humanity and spread the values of equality and compassion. But life had something very different in store for her. Inside the convent, she witnessed the very thing she had hoped to escape: caste discrimination. She realized that even institution preaching equality could still practice inequality. This experience deeply disturbed her, and eventually she made the difficult decision to leave the convent. Instead of remaining silent, Bama chose to write, and that's what makes her such an important literary figure. She transformed her personal pain into literature that gave voice to millions of people whose stories had rarely been told. Apart from Karku, she wrote Sangati, which focuses on the lives of Dalit women, Vanman, which explores conflict within marginalized communities, and Kishimpu Karan, a collection of short stories. Her writings have received widespread appreciation, and the English translation of Sangati even won the Crossword Book Award Jury Prize. Today, Bama is recognized as one of the most influential voices in Dalit literature and Dalit feminist writing. Her works continue to inspire readers, researchers, and activists across the world. Now that we know about the author, let's discuss a little bit about the book itself. Karuku was first published in Tamil in 1992. Several years later, in 2000, it was translated into English by Lakshmi Holmstrom, whose translation introduced Pama's work to readers far beyond Tamil Nadu. Now you might be wondering, what kind of book is Karuku? Is it a novel, a memoir, or an autobiography? Well, it's primarily an autobiography because Pama narrates her own life story. But it's much more than that. It is also an important work of Dalit literature and Dalit feminist writing because her personal experiences reflect the struggle of an entire community. If we talk about the title, so the title itself is fascinating. The word karuku refers to the sharp, double-edged leaves of palm yara tree. It's a kind of tree whose both of whose edges are very sharp. So it is kind of very symbolic title, and it has symbolic meaning. And I will discuss the meaning, the symbolic meaning of this title later in the video. But why would Pama choose such an unusual title? This is something which should come into your mind because these leaves perfectly symbolizes her life. They can wound with their sharp edges, just as caste discrimination wound people emotionally and socially. At the same time, they are strong and resilient, representing resistance, courage, and spiritual awakening. So, even before we begin reading the autobiography, the title prepares us for a journey filled with pain, struggle, self discovery, and ultimately hope. Now come to the summary part. Okay, so we let's try to understand what is inside the book, the main idea. I cannot properly tell you the whole story which is there in the book, but will try to summarize it and try to tell you the main idea which is there in the book. So the autobiography, the book begins with Bama taking us back to her childhood in a small village in Tamil Nadu. Like any other child, she loves playing with friends, going to school, and spending time with her family. At this stage, life seems simple, and she doesn't really understand what caste means. But then comes an incident that changes everything. One day, while returning home from school, Bama notices an elderly man from her community carrying a packet of snacks for an upper caste landlord. What catches her attention is the way he's carrying it, not in his hand, but by holding the string tied to the packet. As a child, she finds this amusing. She even laughs. When she reaches home, she excitedly tells her brother what she has seen. But instead of laughing, her brother explains the painful truth. The old man belongs to a Dalit community, and if he touches the packet with his hands, the upper caste landlord believes it will become polluted. Imagine hearing something like that as a child. The single incident became a turning point in Bama's life. From then on, she begins noticing caste discrimination everywhere in schools, in workplaces, in the streets, and even in everyday conversations. However, instead of accepting this injustice, Bama decided that education will be her weapon. She studied hard, becomes a teacher, and later joins a convent because she believes she can serve society through religion. But unfortunately, her hopes are shattered. Inside the convent, she discovered that caste discrimination exists there too. The very institution that teaches equality fails to practice it. This realization leaves her heartbroken. Finally, she decides to leave the convent. It is not an easy decision, of course, but it marks the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Rather than staying silent, Bama chooses to write. Through Karukku, she tells her own story, but at the same time, she tells the story of countless Dalit men and women whose voices had remained unheard for generations. And that is why Karuku is much more than an autobiography. It is a testimony, a protest, and above all, a call for dignity, equality, and justice. Now that we know the story, let's ask a more important question. What is Bama actually trying to tell us through this autobiography? In other words, we can say, what are the major themes of Karuku? Now we will discuss the major themes of Karuku in the next slide. The first and the most dominant theme is caste oppression, obviously. Throughout the autobiography, Obama shows that caste isn't just a social label. It determines how people are treated in their everyday lives, whether it is a school, in the workplace, or on the streets, or even inside religious institutions. Dalit constantly face humiliation simply because of caste they are born into. Closely connected to this is the theme of Dalit identity. Instead of hiding her identity, Pama embraces it. She encourages Dalit to take pride in who they are and to reject the shame imposed on them by society. In this sense, the book becomes a journey of self discovery and self respect. Another important theme is gender discrimination. Bama points out that Dalit women face a double burden. We also can say double marginalization. They suffer because they belong to a marginalized caste, and at the same time, they face discrimination because they are women. So they are oppressed, marginalized both in outside community and in their own community as well. Through the experiences of her mother, grandmother, and other women in her community, she highlights how difficult their lives are. Then religion is another central concern in the book, and I would say that it is the religion, the theme of the religion, which makes the Karuko even more important, because it was believed that religious institution, especially Christianity, claims that in Christianity everyone is equal and there is no such thing as caste discrimination, just like Hindu religion. But when Bama first hand experienced this institution, when she became the part of the convent, she realized that even these so-called religious institution which claims of equality, they are filled with caste mindset, like they are also the people who discriminate against these people. So, as just I was saying, Bama joins a convent believing that it will be a place of equality and compassion. Instead, she discovers caste prejudice within the church itself. Through this, she criticizes not Christianity as a faith, but the hypocrisy of religious institution that fail to practice the values they preach. The autobiography also emphasizes the importance of education. Bama repeatedly tells us that education is one of the most powerful tools for challenging caste oppression. In fact, her own journey from a village girl to a teacher and eventually a writer shows how education can transform life. Finally, perhaps the most inspiring theme of Karuku is resistance. Bama refuses to remain silent. She turns her suffering into strength and her experiences into literature. In doing so, she encourages others to question injustice instead of accepting it. So these themes make Karuku much more than a personal memoir. They transform it into a powerful social document and a call for equality and justice. Now let's discuss the literary features of the book. First of all, Karuku is written as an autobiography, and I have already told you this thing multiple times. Everything we read is based on Bama's own life experiences. This gives the narrative authenticity and emotional power because as a readers we know that these events actually happened and is not just a fictional story. Then also the book is written in the first person point of view using I, and this allows us to experience every event directly through Bama's eyes. We don't just learn about the discrimination, we almost feel it alongside her. And one of the most significant literary devices is symbolism. As we have already discussed, and I mentioned it in the very beginning of the story, that the title Karuku itself is very symbolic. The sharp edges of the Palmyra leaves represent both pain and resistance. They remind us that suffering and strength often exist together. Another important feature is realism. Parma doesn't exaggerate or romanticize her experiences. She simply narrates ordinary incidents from daily life, allowing us to see the harsh realities of caste discrimination for themselves. And I would also like to say here that it is not just Parma and Hark where we find realism. In fact, all the Dalit writings, most of them, they have this feature of realism. Realism is a very important feature of Dalit writing itself because they are showing their experiences of this caste discrimination. So of course they cannot use for fantasy or something. Realism is very important feature of Dalit literature. So that's all about Karuku by Bama. As we have seen throughout this video, Karuku is much more than an autobiography. It is a powerful testimony of lived experiences, a critique of caste and institutional discrimination, and at the same time, a story of resilience, hope, and self discovery. Through her own journey, Bama reminds us that literature isn't just about stories, it can also become a powerful tool for questioning injustices and giving voices to those who have been silenced for centuries. I hope this video has helped you understand the text in a simple yet comprehensive way. Whether you are preparing for MA examination, UGC NET, or simply reading Indian literature out of interest, I hope you now have a much clearer understanding of why Karuku occupies an important place in Indian literary studies. If you found this lecture helpful, don't forget to like the video and share it with your classmate or anyone studying English literature. And if you would like more detailed lectures on novels, literary theories, criticism, and important text of for MA and UGC NET preparation, do subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next lecture. Until then, Keep reading, keep questioning, and happy learning.